In a society full of feminists clamoring for equal rights, it's easy to focus solely on the highly sexualized, objectified, and unrealistic portrayals of women in advertising, while it's easy to ignore the equally eroticized and increasingly frequent images of men.
Author Kenneth McKinnon states that since the 1990s there has been an increasing amount of advertisements featuring men as objects of contempt, even when they are presented as erotic objects, subjecting men to the same negative portrayals that have received harsh criticism when applied to women.
Over the past 3 decades, the images from advertising have developed an idealized new man. Rebecca Feasey, a professor at Bath Spa University, states that this hegemonic male is said to be a strong, successful, capable, and authoritative man who derives his reputation from his self-esteem and from the public sphere.
Aesthetically speaking, film theorist Laura Mulvey's term "to be looked at" is the best descriptor of the image that coincides with this new man. Essentially, this means that this new man is featured solely for our viewing pleasure.
According to Professor Sean Nixon of the University of Essex, a 1985 Levi's jeans commercial featuring Nick Kamen marked the beginning of advertising where males are featured as objects of sexual desire.
The 1990s saw an increase in ads similar to Kamen's Levi's ad. According to Dr. Paul Jobling of the University of Brighton, no brand capitalized on this new method of advertising with eroticized images of men more so than Calvin Klein, which solidified its reputation with the famous ad featuring Mark Wahlberg.
Shouts goes out to my man Calvin Klein, good looking out for the drawers. Not saying I would do another Fruit of the Loom commercial or nothing like that, because they don't make the hype shorts. These are the 90s, man. They just fit good and they hold me snug, so if I'm about to go get some skins, I'm not going to put on like no silk underwear. Oh, she got freckles. Next question. No, the best protection against AIDS is to keep your Calvins on. Now that could definitely come between me and my Calvins. Do you have Calvin Klein underwear on?
Now, in 2011, the overwhelming majority of advertisements feature this eroticized new man. He is hairless, muscular, most likely in a state of undress, with perfect shiny skin and abs to die for. He is the ideal of the perceived image of what women want their men to look like, and he is therefore subjected to the female gaze as often as possible. Although it's rarely commented upon, there are repercussions to the constant exposure to this image of male perfection that we are becoming accustomed to.
According to Professor April E. Fallon of the Medical College of Pennsylvania, these images that depict men as objects lead to inaccurate stereotyped perceptions of the ideal, as well as to negative self-appraisals, similar to the way that thin models have an impact on women.
Professor Jennifer Stevens Aubrey of the University of Missouri expanded upon the sense of anxiety felt by men as a result of images of the new man, stating that by showing the ideal man as muscular, wealthy, and prestigious, and romantically successful with thin, attractive women, the message received is that men may obtain ideal partners only if they meet society's expectations regarding appearance.
Harrison J. Pope Jr. of the Harvard Medical School conducted a study where 82 undergraduate men, the mean of which was 19.8 and 70% were in their first or second year of school, were exposed to 30 slides of advertisements from popular magazine and clothing catalogs. 20 of these slides showed ideal images of the male body. The participants were asked then to digitally recreate their own bodies as well as their ideal body using a computer program where they were able to adjust the body fat percentage and fat-free mass index.
The results showed that advertisements produce measurable body dissatisfaction, which is reflected in an increased difference between the level of muscularity that men perceive themselves to have and the level they would ideally like. A significant finding was that dissatisfaction was primarily with respect to musculature rather than body fat, meaning that body muscle is more important than body fat in men's body satisfaction.
Furthermore, the anxiety men feel about their bodies isn't restricted to just their muscle size. Studies have shown that as sexually suggestive images of half-naked men increase, so does the concern men feel about penis size.
Jacob Ostberg, a professor at Stockholm University, says that although there has been an increase in representations of the penis in the media, due to changes in censorship laws and increased public acceptance of male nudity, these representations have a tendency to obscure the specifics of the physical penis by a phallic ideal. For example, the pictorial conventions of underwear ads typically shows unspecific bulges rather than anatomical specifics, and many times shadows are put to creative use in order to simultaneously show and hide what Jonathan E. Schroeder of the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm and Janet L. Borgerson of Stockholm University call phallic packaging.
The penis is the body part which is most directly linked to masculinity, as, according to Ostberg, having a large one firmly places an individual in the male category, whereas having a small one places a person somewhere in between, thus blurring the boundaries of the male and the female. A strategy that is becoming increasingly popular for advertisers is using this new man image while promoting products for men, but gearing the advertisements towards women. A perfect example of this is the wildly popular Smell Like a Man campaign featuring ex-NFL player Isaiah Mustafa, which was launched last year.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like he's me. Look down. Back up. Where are you? You're on a boat with the man your man could smell like. What's in your hand? Back at me. I have it. It's an oyster with 2 tickets to that thing you love. Look again. The tickets are now diamond. Anything is possible when your man smells like Old Spice and not a lady. I'm on a horse.
Another example of this new strategy is Calvin Klein's X Marks the Spot campaign, in which the actors are speaking directly to women and even flirting with them, while wearing nothing but their Calvins. The ad shows the men as sexual objects for women to look at and encourages women to buy the product in order to mark their spot on their man.
Hey you. You wanna see my shit? You wanna see my shit?
I said, do you want to see my shit? Oh, come on, don't be shy.
Yeah. All the girls go crazy.
I know you want to see it. Eyes up here.
You wanna see more?
I'll show you my if you show me yours.
You wanna see my What the is wrong with you?
You know you like that.
You looking at me? Closer. Come on. Closer.
Hey, wait. Not so close.
I'm just with you. You wanna with me? Me too.
Calvin's got me covered.
It's all about the Calvins. Yeah. Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein X.
X.
Mark your spot.
Mark your spot. Marca tu punto.
The are you wearing?
You want some more?
Recently, companies have been using the new man to market products for women as well.
Some campaigns, such as these launched by Voodoo Hosiery and Dolce & Gabbana, show women in a dominant position while having the man submissive to her will, reversing the roles that we are typically used to seeing in advertising. While the typical image that have women in the submissive role are subject to much criticism, these new campaigns are attracting attention only because they are not typical.
It seems that men and women are finally starting to be treated equally in advertising. Now men are just as equally subjected to the negative images and ideals that are perpetuated by this advertising system.
Come into my world, I've got to show